I'm really excited to be here today and talk about these top 5 financial tips which really apply at any point during a year. And I love a phrase that I heard just a few minutes ago about keeping your financial sanity, and they really are all around that. But why I'm really extra excited to talk about them today is because we're just about to roll into 2011. And if history has a tendency to repeat itself, which it does, then it means that we are on the edge of the next economic boom. So that might still feel a little bit hard to believe, but over the past 3 decades, what has happened is that the first 2 to 3 years of the decade is usually challenging, and this time around even more extraordinarily so than normal. But generally, years 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 are the boom period. And so those companies that keep a constant focus on their financial vision and where they're trying to go are going to be extra successful as we start off this next economic cycle and get into those 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. The first tip that I'd like to share is just know where you want to be. Where do you want to be, not in 2011, but in 2015? And especially if you want to get out of your business in this economic cycle, if you want to get to that next phase of your life, it's ultra important for you to have that vision in mind and make sure that you get out before the next economic bust, which is likely going to happen maybe in 8, 9, or 2020. And with that in mind, not only having a vision for where you want to be in 2015, but how you're going to get there financially. And the first step for that would be the second tip. Create a budget for 2011. And I know that might sound kind of rudimentary, but you'd be shocked at how many businesses don't take that step to set a budget for where they want to go. And when I say budget, what I don't mean is just flat numbers that are a representation of last year. Don't say, okay, well, I want my revenue to go up by 10% and I want to shave off a little bit of expenses to have a slightly better net income line. What I mean, I think we can all agree, is that things look way better when they're in 2D and 3D. All the latest movies that are coming out are in 3D, and that's because they come to life. And the same is true with budgets. So when you're setting your financial plan, make it 2D and 3D. And the way you do that is that you apply operating information to the numbers. So for a services company, what might be important is to think about things like average rate per hour that they're trying to earn. Not just total revenue, but then applying to it also the hours that they're going to put into that revenue to get to a certain gross profit line. So average rate per hour, maybe they want to earn 125 or 150 an hour in order for it to be profitable business for them. When you take that operating data, those hours, and apply it to the financial metric, the revenue, it makes it come to life and gives something that a company can take action on if they're not getting the results that they desire. Now that you have a great budget in place, and it's either 2D or 3D with some great operating information, now it's time to step back and think about who are your ideal customers. And you've probably been giving this a lot of thought anyhow. A lot of companies focus on this before they even get their budget done. But by ideal customer, I would encourage you to take it even further than the quantitative measure and think about who your customers are qualitatively. If you're doing that, fantastic. An example for me personally would be, my clients quantitatively are often between $1 million and $20 million in revenue. And they're often in the business services and technology industries. So that's kind of the typical what we hear when people are doing their elevator speeches. But if you extend it to the qualitative factors, for example, I work with a lot of high growth companies. They're on the Fast 50 list, Inc. 500, Inc. 5000. They have a tendency to work with other experts. They've hired coaches, and they actually take action on the advice that they receive from those other experts. So qualitatively, those are the companies that when I'm working with them inside my business, we have the greatest chance of having the most successful relationship, which is going to prove itself on the bottom line of my business. Now you have a fantastic budget, you know exactly what type of customers you're trying to attract to reach your revenue goal. Now it's time to sit back and find those 5 key drivers in your business that have a significant impact on its results. And those are the metrics that you want to measure. There is no shortage of financial data or data points inside your business that you can measure. But if you take a close enough look at what's really driving the results, you'll probably find 5 things that if you focus on those regularly and you have them in 2D form with a great metric, you can find where you're going to need to take different actions in your business to get the best financial results possible. And the last tip today is that when you find something that's working inside your business, stick with it. Create a process and repeat it over and over. If you go to Starbucks or Target, you're probably going to have a similar experience most times, and you know it when you don't, because they've got their processes down and people, their customers know what to expect. Okay, so let's recap the 5 tips that we just went over. First, set a plan for where you want to be in 2015 when it's the middle of the next economic boom. Second, go ahead and set a budget. Make it 2-dimensional or 3-dimensional so it comes to life. Next, focus on who your ideal customers are and try to attract those customers. Find those 5 key drivers inside your business and focus on measuring those constantly and fixing the areas that need attention. And lastly, when something is working inside your business, stick with it. Create a process and make sure your employees know it and follow it.